Nuclear!
Hello and welcome to another installment of the NFL Football, Fantasy Football League, Fantasy Football Podcast. This week brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper, the only fantasy football app made for fans, by fans. This is the show where we take a look into the details and goings on in the league because we all know our commissioner won't. I'm here with my co-host as usual, Mr. RJ Wagner. RJ, how are you doing this week?
Ted, I'm glad to be here, but this week, tough loss. Worst performance from my end all year, specifically with me choosing my starting lineup. That's just the curse of having such a deep bench. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that later.
We will. But first, we have our guest today. You all love him. He's done so much for this league. He's changed this league from top to bottom. League wouldn't be the same without him. It's our league evolution coordinator, Kevin O'Brien.
Oh, yeah.
You got a different title.
Wait a minute. That's not my title. We are here. It's been too long since I chopped it up with my two favorite co-hosts. We're going to look at the data. I have my pencil. Why? Because we're going to write down some analysis, and we may be writing some people off with 5 weeks to play. Let's get into the details, gentlemen. It is November, and it is time. It's our time. Let's go.
Wow, let's get right into it, Kev. You got a pencil. Let's write some stuff down. Let's start with the Week 9 recap. Let me look at the first matchup. Monty beat me for his first win. 122-95. I just want to tell you guys, this one was rough. What was it? Monday night, my wife looks at me and she says, "How are you doing fantasy? You going to beat Monty?" And I looked and I said, "There's no chance." So I've been sleeping on the couch since then. But let's take a look into this one. For my team, just absolute doo-doo. No standout performances. J.K. Dobbins with 6. Ladd with 7. Tyler Warren with 5. And worst of all, Brandon Aubrey. Only 5 points. He missed a 68-yarder. It's not that hard. But for Monty, he had a huge week out of Josh Allen with 30, playing like he's supposed to. And T. Higgins surprisingly pops off for 30. That one was interesting. But RJ, what do you have to say about this matchup? Good for Monty, tough for me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Ted, you hit all the spots really. The first bank win, like you mentioned, T and Josh were really the main bright spots for the bank. I got a stat for you on T. Higgins. T. Higgins without Joe Flacco at quarterback, he averages 8.2 PPR points per game. With Joe Flacco, 19.3 PPR points per game. The man is a wide receiver 1 with Joe Flacco at quarterback. And Monty, that's been his biggest thing, was he's needed a wide receiver 1 with A.J. Brown not being that guy. He might have just found it now. Too little, too late, maybe. But at least he got that one. Josh Allen getting that 30-plus points that we've been saying. His first 30-plus point week since week 1. And we've been saying this all podcast, all year long. When you draft a quarterback that early, you got to be getting those 30-plus weeks every other. I mean, just about. And he finally got that this week for his first win. For you, Ted, Tyler Warren, he's kind of fallen off from a usage perspective. I know just not these past 2 weeks. Before that, he had 3 straight touchdowns. But he had 76 yards and 79 receiving yards in his first 2 NFL games. Since then, he hasn't had over 70. He's averaging 51.9, which, granted, that's still fine for a tight end. But from the production you got out of him early in the year, you kind of hoped he would keep that going. He hasn't been. JK with 6.2. RJ Harvey has had a receiving touchdown in 3 consecutive games. Really taking some of that touchdown work away from JK. Justin Jefferson, though, Ted, finally found the end zone for the first time since week 1. Wow. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. He also did see a season-high 40% target share. But that just wasn't enough, especially like you said, Brandon Aubrey getting 5 and missing a 68-yarder. and would have been tied for the NFL record that was just broken hours before with Cam Little. Is Brandon Aubrey toast now? I mean, Cam Little did what he couldn't do. I don't know. Tough loss for you, Ted. Tough loss. Kev, what do you got?
Cam Little, more like too little, too late for the Bink, but it is the first win of the year for the Binkpotamus. You guys hit everything. Let's touch on this. Tucker Kraft shot in the face on the field in between the white lines. He will be done, never coming back. If everyone heard
Tucker
from
Kraft,
Romeo.
isn't he on Jack's team?
No, that was last year. I kept thinking the same thing.
If we
Ted, the Bink?
Monty.
Oh, I did not know that.
If Ted is a part of the commercial in between the recap and the preview, we could throw in Romeo Dobbs explaining just how bad the Tucker Kraft injury was. He did indeed get shot dead on the field.
Wow.
But you guys covered the rest. Monster game from T. Higgins and first win for the Bank. Only 2 games back with 5 to play of Teddy and Kyle. So let's see if you can ride that momentum. Teddy, this is your 4th straight loss. And I'd say you're trending down a little bit. I think we lose RJ. Ted, I want you to take a ride with me here. RJ, you come along for the ride too. I'm not going to talk about how you're virtually without a running back too. Why? Because Chuba lost his starting job. ETN averaging 8.7 over his last 4 games. J.K. Dobbins averaging 8 a game over his last 4 games. What I'm going to talk about is Justin Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I have some numbers for you. Jefferson averaging 12.6 on the season and ASB averaging under 14 a game over his last 4. Not terrible numbers, but not great when you spend that kind of draft capital on those 2 guys. I believe it was your top 2 picks. And here's what I tell you, Ted. I think you need a running back, and you have the wide receiver star power to go and get one. Just over 2 weeks until the trade deadline, I would look to someone with maybe a 3-headed monster at the running back position. More specifically, if you're looking holistically going forward after a 4-game losing streak, look at Baker's upcoming matchups. And that's after he's averaged 13.6 a game in his last 3 coming off a bye. So it looks like it might be a lot of Jared Goff the rest of the year. Keep riding with me. I don't think you want to stack Goff with Amon-Ra St. Brown. So is it time to ship off ASB with that star power? Some people may be willing to pay a premium like a Nico Collins. The name carries a little more weight than this year's numbers, perhaps. Just something to think about. A month straight of losses speaks for itself, and I'm wondering, Ted, if the panic button is in the room with us. Do you have any comment?
Yeah, I got some comment. I don't know like a team that would want to ship that like has an emotional attachment to Amon-Ra and might ship like, I don't know, like maybe a Chase Brown for him or a Josh Jacobs or maybe like Javonte Williams, just top 10 running backs off the top of my head. Like I don't know any team. Like, do you know of any team who would be willing, like who really like had previous experience with Amon-Ra and Josh Jacobs?
I can't speak to the hypothetical, but when I see Amon-Ra in the pregame warmups in the locker room, I get warm and fuzzy. Just completely having nothing to do with any potential trade. I love me some Amon-Ra St. Brown. As far as Chase Brown, Javonte, Willie, I don't even know what names you were saying. Not sure what you're getting at there, but it is something to look at. Baker's upcoming matchups are pretty brutal. That was interesting when I looked at what you might be doing down the stretch.
Yeah, it's been a tough realization that Bake Show might be closed.
Wonder where he's at in the MVP odds, because he really has fallen off.
Yeah. Well, we got to move on. And
do we? Should we tell the audience the over-under on minutes for today's pod?
Well, they already know. They're already looking down, and it says hour 45.
I want them to click on this link and see a 2 in the beginning. I want over 2 hours.
Well, why don't we move on to the next matchup? Kev, you've been talking a lot of smack about my team. Let me talk about Trevor beating you down 153 to 105.
Baker's still 5th in MVP odds. Sorry, continue.
Trevor beat you down 153 to 105. You got beat down with absolutely no help. Daniels with 15. I think him and Tucker Craft, was that group suicide? Like, do they have a suicide pact or something? Like, if one died, the other died.
Physician assisted. It was just approved in both states.
It was, I think, some sleeper agent stuff where Kyle went into the rumors about you and Kyle cutting a deal. Tet McMillan with 6, Javonte Williams with 6. But then players like Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, Kami Fireburn, they got more than 15 points. Kami Barnes. But that didn't matter. Trev just whipped his snake out with Lamar with 33, CMC 32, Monongai with 21. That was crazy. And then Puka with 19. You got beat down. RJ, what do you got to say about this before Kev takes the reins?
Yeah, you hit all the points again. Trev really went off. He finally stopped the red hot suicide hotline.
Mm-hmm.
Is it not wild?
Had gone dormant.
Is it not wild that Trevor gets back Lamar, and then when he gets back Lamar, Dak has a shitty game against the Cardinals? Like, after Dak was getting 30 plus for Trevor, filling in for Lamar, and then Dak finally goes on his bench and Dak shits the bed. That's just coincidence. Dak
had a bad week last week.
He did?
He had like 13.
I'm glad you brought that up and invited me to speak on it. And this pod is way too short, so let's dive into that. That is such bullshit.
What do you mean?
It's bullshit because Lamar was hurt and Dak just became QB1 for a month. But also, when I was just in the depths of hell in like week 3, the first game that Jaden missed, I plug and played Dak in a great plus matchup, and he was terrible. And Trevor's just rattling off wins, just putting Dak in there. It was infuriating.
Well, Dak did have 6 points the week before this, so I can see why he jumped to Lamar. But the previous 4 weeks, he averaged 32 points.
That's disgusting.
So that's tough.
Wait, he averaged how much?
He had 36, 36, 28, 29.
Jeez.
Wow.
Good math, Ted.
Sorry, I'm warming up a slice of pizza.
You were in the middle of your breakdown.
I thought you were gonna talk more.
RJ, what was the deal for that Domino's pizza?
Oh,
no
so
free
you want to
ads.
know the deal for the Domino's pizza?
No free ads.
The deal was a large one topping for, I don't know, $6.70.
So, RJ,
Okay,
thoughts on the matchup between Kevin Trevor?
Yeah, storyline here. How bad is Puka's injury? Does anyone know? Because I don't really know.
Was he injured again?
He gets like
he got hurt real. Anyways, they said, I don't know why I was asking because I already know what they said. They said that he should be good to go to play next week against the 49ers. But if you watched the game, he looked to be in very bad pain. So would he be used as a decoy next week? I don't know. That's not really good for Trevor when he's trying to hunt for that bye. Anyways, we can get more to that in the preview. Great fill-in job from Trev. You know, Trev loves to fill in those holes. The hole that he had at RB2 in the flex position with those.
Whether they want them filled or not.
Yeah, he does not care if they want it or not. He will fill those holes. And those were big holes. Combined, his RB2 and flex position combined for 33, which is just about what CMC got himself. Kev, Chase Brown here. First 3 games with Flacco at quarterback, he saw 5, 9, and 9% target share. I think I've mentioned that on the podcast. This Sunday, 31.1% target share, which is by far the highest target share that he's had this season, but also the highest target share he's had in his career. He has never had a target share that high. He also saw 96% snap share at running back. Granted, I will say Samaje Perine was hurt, and I did not know that when I wrote it down, but I did see that later. But still, that's good to see that he is able to hold that workload this late in the season. And they're going to need to win games. They're going to need to start rattling off wins, so they might be giving him the ball more. Also, Kev, like you said, Kev's quarterback, Jaden Daniels, being decapitated. Win for Trev. Where does that put you guys for the tie? That's the last thing I had.
He swept me.
He swept.
Yeah.
That is tough then.
Yep. Kyle actually beat me the first time around too. So that's part of why beating him was so huge last week. And then, you never want to go 0-2 against anybody. So that hurt double.
And then you lost to Chase, I assume, right? Didn't we all lose?
Yeah. And I have 4 losses. Oh, and that'd be it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, that puts you in a tough spot for the bye. But that's all I have. What do you got?
It does. Trev, massive week. The score shows it. Lamar, CMC, Puka, just kaboosh. We talked about Kyle Monange. That was just a great start. Plus matchup. DeAndre Swift was out, I think, later in the week. You guys talked about it last week, but will be interesting going forwards when Swift comes back for Trevor's RB2 and wide receiver 2. Kind of all over the map there. But he's 6-3. I feel like we've been saying that for a month. He's plugging the right guys. So as long as he keeps Kaplushin, I know he plays the matchups quite a bit. On my side, first loss in a month. I was undefeated in October, so not really used to losing. But if you're going to lose, just get absolutely demolished. I haven't been on here for a while, so Ted, forgive me. I'm going to deep dive into my team here real quick and give my thoughts. I think there are a lot of positives. I still broke 100, even in a brutal week. Josh Jacobs, 10th touchdown in 8 games. He's been, I don't know how plugged in you guys are. He got kind of hurt a couple weeks ago, and they had him kind of on a pitch count.
He's trying to boost him up for a trade with you, Ted. That's what he's doing right now.
So I don't love his rushing numbers, but he's just a touchdown machine, which really has been the story of his career. Let's talk about Chase Brown a little more in depth than RJ did. So Teddy mentioned it last week. Hard hitting analysis. 6 of his first 7 weeks against top fantasy run defenses, averaging 19.6 in the 2 games since. 1 touchdown per game. Lesser managers, I tell you, might get impatient. They might drop him. They might say that's a valuable spot. Why am I keeping this bum? But someone would have snatched him up just like someone snatched up Chris Olave in spite of massive target share. The potential was there.
Jack snatching up Michael Pittman Jr.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that, man, sidebar. I really Ted, did you ever consider doing that trade with me for Pittman? No. I thought I
really should have in retrospect.
Yeah, no, I guess you should have. Yeah. What was it for ETN or Dobbins? I think.
But I think we both didn't respect Michael Pittman, where Jack plug and play. He's talking to the guys at the winner's circle, and they know ball, and they say Pittman.
Know ball. They sleep in the Lucas Oil basement. Yeah, that was. I pride myself as a man of faith, and there's a deep drive to left field. But no, pride myself on not having those Monty drops, and I just thought there were too many weapons in that offense, and JT having the game or the year that he is. But egg on my face, Pittman's playing great.
Egg on my face.
And so yes, Chase Brown, I would say, added to what was already a dynamic duo, gives me the best 3-headed running back monster in the league. If you look ahead, he has some green pasture matchups to end the season. really excited about Chase Brown. I was also going to rattle off some of those stats, RJ, and totally ignore the fact that P. Ryan got hurt. But it's worth mentioning. Once he did get hurt and that they were playing that crazy game, he was like Flacco was just dumping it off to him every time. It was awesome.
Did he get hurt in the game?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he played.
I wasn't that tuned in, but third quarter-ish maybe.
So cool.
Okay. I'm coming. Well, Jamar's wide receiver 1, but JSN is totally insane. Do you guys see Rashid Shaheed got traded to the Seahawks?
Yes, I picked him up.
I'm not crazy about that. He's kind of like a Deshaun Jackson deep ball threat, but he did take like targets and yards away from Olave. So I don't love more mouths to feed in that offense, but Darnold looks for him every time. JSN's insane. I want to point out a couple of things. One, I'm excited about. I may have found my tight end, which is funny because I didn't start him this week. Sam Laporta is back.
It's behind you, buddy.
Sam Laporta is back, and I don't think anyone has noticed because he had a rough start to the year. Double digits in 3 of his last 4. Another Monty drop, I believe, averaging over 13 a game over that stretch of his last 4 with 6 targets a game. So I desperately need a tight end. I started Kyle Pitts last week. And so I would love to be able to play him every week. Not so positive, solidifying my wide receiver 2. Take another ride with me here. So the Spencer Rattler benching is honestly so brutal because the Saints were terrible, but Olave was getting that insane target share always like in garbage time, and that's totally gone. First game with Tyler Shuck, season lows in targets and catches. I don't really see him doing anything. Tet McMillan, target monster, but 2 out of 3 stinkers. And I want your guys' opinions on Zay Flowers. I feel like I pick him up mid-season every year, and he's so athletic. And when he has those 1 or 2 great games, it's awesome. But 2 + 2 never equals 4 with him. Like Lamar will have his stat lines, all passing touchdowns, and he just gets lost in the mix somehow. When most weeks he looks like their number 1 target, like I don't know, his target share is always good, but his stats just never add up. Any opinions on Zay Flowers?
No.
No, he's just one of those players that I feel like you're saying he has 1 or 2 big games.
Yeah, totally.
I said I was wanting to trade for him. Was it last week? I think I reached out about your interest in trading him. I was just kind of trying to take a flyer on him. I like where he's just with Lamar coming back, but I did not like him not looking his way once in the red zone.
Especially now that I have some quarterback troubles and I have to stash a few of those. He's just the worst guy. I can't drop him. Like someone will pick him up, but I don't know. He's just taking up space. Wendell Robinson gets a lot of targets in that offense. I don't know if he can become reliable. And then I did pick up Chris Godwin, another Monty drop. So it's still Chris Godwin. Mike Evans is pretty banged up, so would love to see him do something down the stretch. But point being, a lot of receivers on my roster right now, and I need a solid wide receiver too. Lastly, let's talk about wide receiver 2, maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown, just hypothetically. I've been talking for a while, so let's wrap up. Let's talk about the quarterback. Jaden Daniels shot in the ear, straight exit wound. Also kind of a bummer because he might be back this year, so I can't drop him either.
There's no way.
Well,
There's no way he's back. Did you see his arm?
I don't think he tore any ligaments or anything. Well, the Commanders are not that good, so they're probably not going to bring him back, but I don't know. My conclusion here is on the record. Not really worried about it, and you can call it glass half full after not losing all October, but
we're not caring about your damn quarterback.
Well,
so long story short, I don't really care.
Would you imagine if Dan Quinn said that? You're fine, kid.
I don't care. No, take a little journey with me here. So he's averaged 21 points a game this year, and he missed 3 of the first 9 games. He was in that, first grouping of 4 or 5. And, I've had Josh Allen. I've had Drew Brees back in the day. And he's just not that. Like, I love his floor, but he's never going to go over 25 more than like once or twice a season. So Bo Nix is QB4. I got him off of waivers. I'll probably be rolling with the combo of him, streaming some guys, looked forward to who has some good matchups.
Aaron
So
Rodgers.
we'll see. And we have another guy also at 3 and 6 who has 2 top 3 quarterbacks. We've been in conversations, but we'll get to that in a bit. That's all I got. Sucks to lose, but Trevor just went nuclear. Still over 500, and we're rolling with 5 to play.
That's all we got. Well, let's talk about another matchup that was kind of a beatdown. Kyle beat RJ 127-103. I call this the Raider revenge game because RJ has been yapping, saying, oh, that Genty Bowers stack, my goodness. Nope, Bowers with 37. You'd think, oh, Genty didn't get anything. He got 17 still. And RJ, on the other hand, Gibbs, 4. Vidal, 3. Achane with only 14. Not terrible week, but a bad week. RJ, what do you think about this?
Yeah, egg on my face.
Ugh.
I will say I still somehow ended up with over 100 points. So I keep the streak alive. I have still never been below 100 this year. No one's ever done it. I can see if I can keep that going. But if I were to lose to anyone, I guess I'm glad it's Kyle, someone that hopefully I don't have to worry about when it comes to tiebreakers. But yeah, bad performance by me.
You just little boyed him. It's like a little buddy got a win.
I was glad to give him a win.
He texted me that.
No problem to me.
Anyways, yeah, bad performance by me specifically, not my team. Okay, I scored 103. Like I said, first time also I've gone below my projection this year, which was 110.
And we all know the projections matter a lot.
Projections matter. And why I say it's on me, if I started my optimal lineup, I would have scored 194 points.
Oh my! Your face is like an omelet.
Yeah, so many eggs. Kyle texted me this Monday morning so I didn't want to take credit to this, but according to the recap, that was the first time he's beaten me in 3 years in the regular season. And I went back to look, and his last victory over me was week 11 of 2022, which we've talked about.
I guess you've earned the right.
What'd you say?
You've earned the right to little boy him.
Well, we've talked about Trevor hasn't beaten me in the regular season for a while, but I never even realized that it was the similar situation with Kyle. But yeah, last week I noted that Daniel Jones would be my starter going forward, and he got 16, which honestly isn't terrible with how bad the Colts actually looked. But I will say my quarterback room is back to being completely wide open. Very disappointing in Gibbs, to say the least. 9 carries is pretty bad, easily his worst performance of the year. He's had 9 carries, and the Lions have 3 losses, right? I think.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. He has 9 carries in all 3 of their losses, and he's had more in all their wins. Maybe give him the ball more.
How many carries did Monty have?
Monty doesn't play football.
It's a good point.
I don't know, but I don't have this written down. But another thing, he had it was the most routes that David Montgomery's went out for a pass this year, and the lowest for Gibbs. Gibbs went out on 12 passes, and Montgomery went out on 10. So it was seemed very even, which I did not like. And same with Kamani Vidal. Not much work after halftime for some reason. He actually got the other running back got more work in the second half. Obviously, like I said, wish I started Caleb Williams, Dowdle, and Drake London. But the only one that I actually debated on was Caleb. I woke up Sunday and picked Caleb up and thought about starting him, and I think I would have won if I started him.
Asked the QB gods, what do I do?
Please. Anyways, yeah, Kyle, pretty all around good performance. Maybe except for Spears, but the superstar Brock Bowers is back after his injury, 3 touchdowns. 127 points without Saquon and Judkins, both on his bench. A lot of people bet that I was going to win in the sports book. They thought that Kyle had no chance, and Kyle just shut them right up. So don't know who would do that, because that would be such a dumb bet.
You guys are colluding. Well, I banged that lineup to like 11. Did anyone bet it after that?
I don't know. Maybe that might have been the most play that a sports bet has ever gotten, and it all lost.
Well, two quick thoughts. Montgomery outcarried Gibbs by 2, which is fine. That happens sometimes, but the game was never more than a possession until like late in the third quarter. It's interesting how they just abandoned the run like that. But RJ, the best ability is accountability. And your team didn't lose, you lost.
That's not it's availability.
Huh? That's your opinion. You guys covered a lot of it. Definitely the surprise of the week. I had here, it doesn't hurt you much, RJ, but it is time to put Alvin Kamara in the coffin and bury him 6 feet under. 1 double-digit game since week 2, and now with Shuck in there, I mean, he's just 45 years old. Rashee Rice is an absolute league winner. Apparently, when you start driving 120 miles an hour, your fans forget about the past, and I certainly forgot about the numbies he was putting up last year. It's nothing out of the ordinary for him. He's just all Mahomes looks for in that offense. Speaking of old piles of dirt,
Henry Ruggs.
Well, yeah, maybe if he can, early parole. But speaking of old piles of dirt, Travis Kelce, 4 out of 5 double-digit games, makes him tight end 5 on the year. Maybe a trade, RJ. I know you don't want both of those Chiefs players in that lineup after bye weeks, so maybe a trade is in order. But yeah, sucks to lose, but sitting at 6-3, if you can play the right guys, Caleb and such, like you said, I think you'll be all right. For Kyle, like I mentioned, 2 top 3 quarterbacks with Herbie and Drake May. Of course, the Patriots suffered for all of 3 years, and now they're like 7-2. Genty and Bowers, like you guys talked about, did it all without his running backs. Only my last note here is Kyle's got to be thrilled with the win, but at 3-6, he needs consistency. If you look at his roster, it actually looks pretty deep with just the names. But those big ones like Saquon and Nico, the guys that you can't not start, both of the Raiders, they just need to stay hot. But great win, and his first win since our trade over a month ago.
Wow. I did not realize that.
Did you not see the tweet from the ZFFFL Twitter account?
I did not. I only follow the one with the /0.
That's not even the one. No, you do follow it because your burner likes all of the tweets. I hear from the Twitter admins.
Burner?
X.com, the everything app. What were you going to say, RJ?
I was just going to add to what you said about Alvin Kamara. Early on in the year, they were talking to him about potentially being traded. And he said, if they decide to trade me, I will be sipping Mai Tais on the beach somewhere, because was refusing a trade. And then the last 2 weeks, he was opening up to the idea of a trade. So I was just waiting for him to maybe get traded to a team, hopefully perform there. Obviously didn't get traded. So he's definitely one of those guys now that if you see an injury to a running back, the backup will be picked up and Alvin Kamara will be now available. He's that disposable guy.
Wow. How about this first name that comes to your guys' mind? Alvin Kamara 10 years ago in his prime. Who does it remind you of today?
Elmer Fudd.
That's the first name that popped in his head.
Mm-hmm.
RJ, I thought you'd be on the same page with this.
Alvin Kamara 10 years ago?
I guess Alvin Kamara 10 years ago?
Who today, who's good right now, resembles Kamara when he used to be really good. Maybe this is just me.
You could say Bijan. Is that where you're?
Yeah,
where
I see so much of Jahmyr Gibbs. I vividly remember RJ when Kamara first broke out using the word slippery, and it just stuck with me. And when I watch Gibbs, he is just a slippery little noodle. Like I see so much of, and especially how quickly he's burst onto the scene when Kamara came out of nowhere and was taking carries from Mark Ingram. I digress.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then before we go on to our next matchup, another stack on RJ update. Montgomery outrushed him. He had 11 rushes.
Isn't that what Kevin just said?
I already said that, you fuckface.
That's in one ear out the other. I'm thinking about Elmer Fudd. Moving on to our last matchup. This one was a real heavy hitter matchup.
Who is that?
So it's a big matchup. Only 2 players above 15 points. Jack beat Chase somehow 77-72. Whatever Jack's doing, it worked. Roma Dunze was 0 in a 47-point Bears performance. I didn't double check. Did he play?
Yeah.
He played.
And did not get hurt.
He had 47 points, but it didn't matter because Jack had Michael Pittman with 16, Kyron Williams with 17. Jordan Love, as quarterback, had 9, and he still won. That's how bad. Chase really fell down from earth. His team seems to be like the Colts, where they were doing so hot, and then they just hit a wall. Mahomes 10, JT 6. Tough starting Bam night. Jamar with 14 as his highest player. That's rough. But RJ, what do you got to say about this heavy hitter matchup?
Yeah, there's not much to say other than it was just ass. Like you mentioned, 47 from the Bears and Rome got 0. He was just doing cardio out there. Jake Ferguson's been ass since CD has been back. I told Jack that he should have traded him a while ago, and look where he is now, getting 0 and then 5. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it was so bad. I don't know what's going to happen for Jack. Breece Hall, I don't know if you guys saw, he was visibly like wanting to get traded on Twitter. Like,
So
he was like,
tweeted, I'm sick right now.
like begging to get traded. So are they? Who knows if they're even going to use him going forward?
Mm-hmm.
I have some stats here. I guess Derrick Henry hasn't scored 20 plus PPR points since week 1. He had 8 last year. Kittle for Chase has seen target shares of 8, 16, 17. He was below 20% just 5 times last year, and in his 4 games played this year, they've all been below 20%. Just a brutal matchup. Good win for Jack. Really, though, because if he lost, he probably would have fallen into the talks for the last place game, potentially, like battling here at the end. So very good win for him. I don't even know what to say about Chase's team. It's kind of shocking to see.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Jake Ferguson, before I get into my points, there is strategy to trading. I feel like RJ says it every week, and so like it's spot on. And it's just like there are teams who need a tight end and can talk themselves into like that production will stay once CD is back. Like their defense is so bad. And no one even tries. Like that would have been a great trade a few weeks ago.
I think personally, people like so many people look at the trades as season long like adjustments. And I was willing to make a trade with Jack for Jake Ferguson, for I forget who, maybe Keenan Allen or something. But just so I can get a good tight end for a little bit. And then now you can drop Jake Ferguson. Like you can drop him, and I think it's nothing. And that's what it would have been for. Like he could have Keenan Allen, and if Keenan Allen is good, keep him on your bench or drop him. Like because Keenan Allen there for a while was a really, really good wide receiver. Like he was doing really well earlier in the year. So I think people, especially Monty now, which we've said it every week now, that he's got – I mean, if Bucky – I had this in my notes later, but if Bucky doesn't play, he needs to trade him and T, because T has been on fire and he has a bye now this week. We'll get into that in the preview, but there's no reason that you can't get a very good wide receiver for this week that you would play. Maybe not as hot as T is right now, but that you can play this week that's already had their bye. And so you don't have someone good sitting on your bench. And then Bucky, he needs Bucky.
Bucky ruled out, by the way.
Play. And if he doesn't, then he needs to trade him for literally like a Kyle Manung guy and a wide receiver.
It's looking at short-term trades almost like you look at the waiver wire. Like it's shifting the mindset. But anyway, only a couple thoughts here. When you get 153 hung on you and then some other guy wins by scoring half of that, you're not going to be too thrilled. Mind you, a guy who under the radar has won 3 in a row in Jack, and that win tied me in this standings. Like he's also 5-4, so that was a load of shit. You talked about his running backs, 30 from Henry and Kyron, Ferguson, Dudu. Better to be lucky than good. I might have lost you guys.
No, you're right there. I'm right there with you.
Chase will be fine. Teddy, you mentioned it. I actually loved the Bam Knight start. I plugged and played Michael Carter a few weeks ago, and that actually worked out for me. But he has since been dropped by the team, and they love Bam Knight. It just didn't work out for him. He actually got out carried by DeMercado. But kind of like I said with my team, if you're going to be bad, be absolutely terrible and just burn the tape. So Chase will be fine, obviously, and I need these numbers to start reflecting in Jack's record because I can't have him creeping up on me in these standings.
Sounds kind of like, I believe it was Teddy, you last year. Didn't you have a bye and weren't you – was it last year? I think
2 years ago.
Last year I was 5-0 and I was like negative in the
It
break.
was last year.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Tough to swallow.
Yeah.
But it seems like we've got a natural progression, unless you guys have anything more to say about to get into the breakdown. Natural progression. Yeah. I just want to start off by saying it's tough seeing myself at the bottom. It has been a brutal 4-week stretch.
Are you last?
Me and Monty are tied.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and just rattle some things off. So last week I started out this breakdown / league outlook with Chase is scalding hot and 43-6 since week 1. He has been 5-2 or better every week since week 1 until last week and week 1 where he has gone 0-7 those 2 weeks. Next in the breakdown, Trevor passes me with a 7-0 week. After last week, he was 0-7. Then it's me. I have back-to-back 3-4 weeks. Kev, now you're 1 game behind me after going 4-3. This is kind of wild. Kyle continues to be the most volatile person ever. 6-1 this week. Last week was 4-3. The week before that, 1-6. Then the week before that, 3-4. So he has just kept flip-flopping, 1-6s, 6-1, 4-3, 3-4. Pretty wild. Then Jack was 1-6 after last week being 7-0. The Bink 5-2 after last week being 2-5. And then Ted, you are one of the few, along with me, that haven't flip-flopped at all lately. You've been complete ass since week 5. You have had 2-5 weeks. You have had 4 2-5 weeks and 1-6 week in the last 5.
Mm-hmm.
That is so bad. That's all I got.
Yeah, it's tough. I think the league's really shaping up and separating, and Jack is the only real anomaly, I would say, in terms of how teams are looking.
And it's wild, Ted, that you are at the bottom and that you've been so ass lately.
Mm-hmm.
When you're 5th in most points scored.
Yeah. Well, I had a really hot first 4 or 5 weeks.
Scalding,
then
like just
Baker
scoring
fell
crazy.
apart. Baker fell apart. Dobbins lost the backfield. ETN remembered who he was last year. I think Amon-Ra and Jefferson signed some sort of pact saying that they'll be little bitches. And Brandon Aubrey, the worst one, I don't think he's hit over 20 in the past 5 weeks, which has been brutal for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to rely on that.
So I'm 1 behind you, RJ, and then you're 4 behind Trevor. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'd recommend anyone watching take a deep look into the breakdown.
It's interesting.
Very interesting.
See some graphs. Someone make a graph about the breakdown.
Yeah, maybe check the Twitter at ZFFFL FF Podcast. That's weird. It's not the official one. Yeah, maybe they'll put up some graphics. That'd be very nice if they, did anything in terms of that besides jinxing themselves. But just real quick, want to get in. What's your guys' thoughts on some of Kyle's stats of the week? Remaining strength of schedule, which I think it is crazy, but tied at the top, Trevor and Chase have a lowest opponent win percentage, which I think that means they probably play me, Monty, and Kyle in some way, shape, or form remaining. And then I've got the toughest, but when you're at the bottom, you're always going to be playing the top. How do you guys feel? Who do you think is going to come on top between Trevor and Chase rest of season?
Oh, I'm going to say Trevor.
Really? Really, Kev, what do you think?
That is interesting that they wait. Is that like a skewed stat, or do they each just play like you, Monty, Kyle, like they play the worst teams?
Well, that's what strength of schedule means.
Yeah, but I'm an idiot. I'm gonna say Chase just to get a debate going. I asked the question off air 2 weeks ago. Arguably jinxing the Scadaboo injury. If Chase was peaking too early, I feel like we've seen teams be absolutely scorching in these single-digit weeks. Then it's kind of funny. He had a terrible week, and now I really don't feel that way at all. So I think he's going to be fine. So, yeah, I'll go with Chase, but those two keep winning, and it sounds like it's only going to get easier for him.
Trev's star power is just Lamar, Puka, and CMC. I think he could fill the other guys as janitors.
I think you could say the same thing about Chase, but whose big three do you like better?
Who's Chase? Big three?
Mahomes, JT, and Jamar Chase.
All of whom are number one at their respective positions.
Jesus.
But what's funny, I thought of this the other day doing some analysis, breakdown analysis. We stressed and talked so much about when do you take a quarterback, when do you take a tight end out of Bowers and McBride. Trevor just kind of said fuck it, and he did both, and it's working out pretty damn well. And so it's almost just straight up best available. Everyone needs to get out of their head with can't take a quarterback until X and what have you. Didn't Josh go first this year?
Yeah. Monty took him first in the third, I believe. And then another thing to look on before we take a quick break, Trevor can join me and Chase in the Century Club. Trevor's got 99 wins. I believe I think I'll have to look at the data, but I think I won and then I have not won again since winning 100. And
oh no.
I don't know if Chase got to 100 last week or the week previous or 2 weeks ago, but Chase might be stuck at 100 too if he won two weeks ago. So maybe there's a Century Club curse. Maybe once you get to 100, you can win no more, but who knows? We'll get into next week after this quick break. Oh, and we're doing well. We're only probably a third of the way into our allotted time, but we'll be right back. And welcome back. We've got week 10, and I believe we've got a word from ASIC Sportsbook.
As we begin the preview of week 10 of the 2025 ZFFFL, I must remind you of our great sponsorship over at our ZFFFL ASIC Sportsbook, ASICS Footwear. This week's featured shoe, the ASICS Gel Cayano 31s. Do you have protection, she says. I say, I do not. She says, that's okay, and proceeds to take off my pants. Then while she's on top, she screams, slap my ass, and of course, I oblige. That continues on for a little before I finish on the couch where we used to play monkey ball. ASICS, a sound mind is a sound body.
That was the Gel Cayano 3s?
Is there an email customer service complaint where a lot of monkey ball talk recently, like the last 3 weeks?
Are you upset about the monkey ball, not the other parts?
It just seems oddly specific.
What about the other parts about like slap my ass?
But it's been the same story: ass slapping, protection, mother's basement. I'm just wondering if there's a theme here.
That's what it's sponsored by ASIC.
You get me that email address, and not even a complaint, just a question.
Support at asics.com.
Hey, Teddy, I have a new segment.
.asics@pornhub.com.
Oh my god, Teddy, I have a new segment alert.
Go ahead.
You have bets. You have the.
You literally cannot do worse than Monty.
As we begin week 10 of the ZFFFL FFL, we have our new segment called Bang Me a Headline. You guys are going to like this one. So we talk a lot about football on this podcast, specifically ZFFFFL football.
Let's talk Dancing with the Stars.
And Dancing with the Stars, but I think it's time to get the word out more about this pod and diversify our topics. I will read 3 headlines and we can have a quick discussion about them. One will be about sports, non-football. One will be pop culture, and one will be about a totally randomly selected topic that has nothing to do with anything that we've discussed on this podcast or otherwise. Should we begin?
Do we pick one and then we go with that one, or we talk about all of them?
Oh no, we're going to discuss all 3.
Okay.
Sports non-football. Nate Diaz has accepted Jake Paul's rematch request after whatever stupid fucking fight he was going to do in a couple weeks got canceled. Discuss.
Yeah, I made $800 on Jake Paul's last fight against Nate Diaz, so I would bet Jake Paul again. It's easy money.
RJ, who would you take? Jake Paul or Kai Cenat?
No, Diaz didn't win.
Oh.
What'd you say?
Jake Paul or Kai Cenat? Say they went at it.
Jake Paul.
Wow.
Jake Paul will always win.
What?
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
No, this pod is too short. Give me your thoughts.
I was going to say, RJ, is Nate Diaz, excuse my ignorance, but I have not kept up with who Jake Paul is fighting. Is Nate Diaz another old guy? Is he out of
he's a retired UFC fighter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm assuming. All right, Kev, what's the next one?
If you recall the rules, the next headline will be about pop culture. Carrie Underwood, Sunday Night Football cover artist, becomes the highest RIAA certified female country artist of all time, surpassing 95 million certified units in the United States alone, including approximately 22.5 million albums and 72.5 million singles. What do you guys think about that?
Good for Carrie Ananaba.
Sunday night.
I think Dolly Parton got robbed.
Dolly's a little bit past her time. I'll tell you what, I went to Dollywood last year. It's a crock of shit. Place is bullshit.
Did you have high expectations going into Dolly Parton's?
I'd only heard great things. I can salvage this shitty park with an elephant ear. Sucked.
Would you go to Reba World?
That's not a thing.
Do you know that?
Could be.
You mean the Grand Ole Opry?
But would you go to Reba World?
I would have to try it out, yes. Reba, a new coach on The Voice, I believe.
You should go to Busch Gardens, Tampa.
Headline number 3.
Wait, I never got to comment on it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, wait, did I? I think I did.
Carriana Nava.
Yeah. Is that the judge's name from Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah, she's my favorite judge.
I hate her.
No, I think she's my favorite judge.
I like Flava Flav. Did you guys?
No,
Great.
anything.
Flava Flav.
He was hopped up on some shrooms. Okay. Third headline, totally just plucked out of all the headlines going on. Yesterday was Election Day, if you recall. The NAACP celebrates election victory mobilization as a win for Black voters and warns of ongoing democracy threats.
Wait, what do you want us to comment on? That was like
Wait, can you restart?
Yeah. The NAACP.
What is that stand for?
I actually don't know. The NAACP celebrates election victory mobilization as a win for Black voters and warns of ongoing democracy threats.
Wait, so what?
Wait, what'd they vote on?
Yeah,
what you make of it?
Election wins? What is the thing that changed? Or there's just a warning?
The election victory mobilization that they celebrated.
I don't even know what that means.
What is the election? That's just nonsense.
The election.
Are you talking about the Muslim that got elected to the mayor of New York?
Zoran
Mamdani?
Both of those. Yes, exactly. Other thoughts?
I thought the guy wearing the funny hat should have won. Just because it would have been funny. Have you seen that guy, the Republican?
I don't think I'm educated enough to speak on this.
I think Teddy's talking about the Cat in the Hat.
I'm talking about Mike Myers.
From Halloween?
Mm-hmm.
I watched Daddy Daycare yesterday.
How's it hold up?
Which one?
Solid movie.
Which one is that again?
With Eddie Murphy.
Oh, nice.
That guy was running for mayor. You don't remember Daddy Daycare?
I probably would. You know what I thought of the other day? Cheaper by the dozen. Steve Martin, baby. That holds up like gold.
Yeah, I could never get a handle on why all those dogs were speckled with black and white. Moving on to the Week 10 preview. Thanks, Kev, for that riveting segment where we talked about
that was called Bang Me a Headline. Bang Me a Headline.
Bang Me a Headline. See if that's a recurring segment. But we got Week 10 matchups to get into. And RJ, why don't we talk about your matchup? It's my favorite matchup. It's the 6-7 matchup. You've got 6 wins. Chase has 7. This is a tough week for Chase with Mahomes on a bye, Jamar Chase on a bye. JT is in Siberia, I'm pretty sure. And this could be a big time to capitalize, even out your series with Chase. You've got to figure out your team. Dowdle, Achane, Drake, London, Gibbs. Hopefully you can make the right decisions this week, but it looks pretty easy. But what does the sports book think?
Yeah, I'll be without Kelsey, Rashee Rice, and like you said, Chase without Jamar and Mahomes. As of now, looks like we won't get started until Daniel Jones and JT actually in Bangladesh in the AM of November 9th. But that, like I said, certainly subject to change. Don't know what I'll really do at quarterback. Really good matchups right now for me. Dowdle, Drake London, and revenge game for Dalton Kincaid. Chase had him at tight end to start the year. Don't forget about that. Chase also has really good matchups with JT, DeAndre Swift, his kicker, and defense. I think the biggest key to this matchup, if Bucky plays, what will the split be between him and Rashad?
Go ahead.
Bucky's out.
Oh, he's already announced out?
Mm-hmm.
I saw Monty's projection was super low, and he's like 0 with the red highlight, so I assume so.
I just saw that he was a non-participant in practice.
Me too. That's weird that it did that. But anyway, continue.
Swift and Manungai split, because I don't know if you saw, Ben Johnson said he really liked what Manungai did and wants to get him more involved too. Rico and Chuba split. I know they said that Rico Dowdle was going to be the guy now, but he's also battling an injury, some like thigh injury. So I don't know how much he'll play. And then honestly, just if Gibbs is able to do anything or if he's asked again. Battle of first and second place here. I'm still kind of shocked that I'm in second place, to be completely honest. Chase got the first one. So if I have a chance at the first round bye, I got to win here. And believe it or not, the book likes me at -2.5.
Ooh.
Yeah. Did you know all my starters are top 10 in their positions? No big deal, but I just had to point that out too.
Wow.
All right, -2.5. While I think about that, I'll get my analysis for the first day of Camp Tecumseh bye-bye mommy matchup. Because these two want to say bye-bye to their one-game losing streaks and get back to searching for the real bye-bye, which is the bye week. And it's a leveled playing field. Mahomes and Jamar, QB1, wide receiver 1, both on bye-bye for Chase. Will we see DeAndre Swift? You guys covered a lot of this. How will Chase's inconsistent receivers show up? DK, and I saw Stephon Diggs as of this recording in that other wide receiver spot. On the other side, RJ touched on the great matchups. I put in here, I bet he starts Caleb if I was a betting man. How will that sway the line, if at all? And I had a fun little bit here for Teddy to go look up and down your lineup in a challenge to find someone who was not ranked in the single digits at their position. So you stole that one from my grasps. But top of the league matchup, Chase, I ultimately say cannot overcome, even with Rashee Rice out. Give me RJ to go even with Chase at 7-3. Whilst I anticipate another member of the league may have a good chance to join them at 7-3. But we'll get there soon. Give me RJ, and I'll lay the 2 with the hook.
All righty. Wow. Let's get into our next matchup that I think someone might have been alluding to. This one is sponsored by Star Wars. This is the Episode 4, A New Hope matchup. Because one team is saying, help me, O Bijan, you're my only hope. Monty needs a huge game out of Bijan, Josh Allen. Bucky's dead, which hurts. So I think Monty's going to need a crazy game from both of them. I don't know who's going to step up. A.J. Brown, who knows? Egbuka, who knows? But Trevor, he's got those top big 3, Lamar, CMC, Puka. Who knows what's going to happen? Is he going to be Darth Vader and just destroy Monty? Who knows? Destroy Monty's hopes. We'll see. What does the sportsbook think?
Yeah, Bink without Butker and T. Higgins, who's his hottest guy as of late, who, like I mentioned, he should be trying to trade, preferably to me. Mm-hmm. And then Trev without Dak and Kareem Hunt. Sutton Thursday for Bink. Broncos D for Trev. Bijan for Bink Sunday morning in Israel. Finishing with Devonta versus A.J. Brown Monday night. So if it's close somehow, that would be watch. Storyline here, though, is Bucky. If he doesn't play, you got to trade him and T to me. That would be nice. Regardless, Trevor's going to bury him and make Monty's hopes all go away. This is history here for the sports book. The largest opening line ever.
20.5.
We have never seen a double-digit opening line -11.5.
Ooh, that is stinky.
Are you sure? I thought there was one earlier this year.
9.5 was your opening line week 1 against Kyle, and that was the largest until 11.5. So it went from 9, 9, 11, 9, 9, 11.
Oh my God. Well, this one's personal. Wait a minute. It's personal for me. I'm calling it the oxycodone take the pain away matchup, because we're going to see a whole lot of pain in Trevor versus Monty. Monty will be crying for his mama with what Lamar, CMC, and Puka are going to do to him, even with Christian McCaffrey playing the best fantasy defense against running backs. Bucky probably won't play. He has A.J. Brown in there again, just an absolute torture chamber for Monty's team, as has been discussed ad nauseum. Go on a ride with me real quick here, guys. Who is in the starting lineup at tight end for Monty's team after Tucker Kraft was physician-assisted suicided?
The NFC Offensive Player of the Week?
It is Chicago Bear Colston Loveland. I have a stat for you. Colston Loveland has scored 43.9 points over what span? The entire season. Wait for it. 12.3 of those were on the improbable game-winning play last week against maybe the worst defense the league has ever seen. That's 28% of his entire season total on one play. I mean, this is just amateur hour, like looking at none of the fundamentals, none of the forward-looking stats. I realize Cole Kmet's hurt. Why are you starting Colston Loveland here? Like, we're not in middle school anymore.
Whoa.
Give me Trevor for all the points in the world, all of the oxycodone in the world, so I can hand deliver the painkillers to Monty. And then do you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna flush him down the toilet right in front of him. You know why? Because he skipped my birthday party on Saturday.
And then what are you gonna do?
That's right, Monty. This is personal for me.
Wow.
He hates me. He skipped my annual birth celebration, and now he's going to get murdered at the hands of Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Flushing the oxycodone. That's 2 dry sockets with nothing but Advil and Tylenol. Not a fun time, not a fun Sunday. Go apple picking or something, Monty. Nothing to see here. Pain.
Whoa. Wow.
Now I'm fired up.
Woo!
Ass.
Wow. Kev, I want you to
bounce that ass.
Bounce that ass.
Kev, I want you to keep that fire because we've got the NPR Talk That Talk matchup, because this is between you and me, and I feel like we've been jawing about each other's team the whole time. I've been saying your team sucks. You've been saying a lot of other things, and honestly, you went on like a 4-game win streak, and egg on my face also. Like you were saying, I need to figure out my running back room. James Cook can't sustain the whole thing. Need to figure out J.K. Dobbins. Maybe I'll get, we could have a rare in matchup trade this week. Who knows? But then on the other hand, I need my wide receivers a little bit of nuclear power. I'm going to be feeding them plutonium to get Amon-Ra or Justin Jefferson. It feels like eons since they've gotten above 20 points. And Kev, I think Bo Nix is a dangerous quarterback, number 1. He gets a lot of points. He's a lot of that offense. And I think it's going to depend for you. You'll probably still beat me because my team is Cheeks. That's code for ass. But I think if you're going to have a good week, I think you need to figure out your Wandale and Tet as your wide receivers, because that is a weak point where you could use someone, I don't know, like Amon-Ra St. Brown to fill out those wide receivers, get a little consistency. But RJ, what does the sportsbook think about this matchup?
Yeah, Kev's roster right now thin at the running back position this week with Chase Brown and Javonte on the bye. He has those 2, Josh Jacobs and Ramondre Stevenson in. At the time of my notes, I said no D and no K, but now just no K, no kicker. I see that he has a defense in.
It's a strategy.
Yeah, and I was noting that he had 4 quarterbacks on his team. Is that still true, or did he drop one of them? Still has 4 quarterbacks.
And Aaron Rodgers is one of them.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, Jackson Dart, Jaden Daniels.
Oh,
There's no way Jaden Daniels is coming back. And Bo Nix.
And who would pick him up?
If I drop him, okay, let's do. I was going through which of the top teams like could use him. If I drop him, you will pick him up, and he'll come back for like the semis, and you'll win with him. Like he's just a dead weight on my bench for the whole year now.
Jaden Daniels.
Why are you worried? Why are you worrying about the semis?
22, 23, 19, 27, 19, 15.
That's what I was saying. 21 games.
Anyways, Ted is without his superstar, but I don't know if he's even the superstar anymore. And Brandon Aubrey, after that missed 68-yarder, that might as well just go to Cam Little. Dobbins and Nix Thursday night, if you stick with Bo Nix, which should be a lot of fun to watch. And then Josh Jacobs and Packers D right now. Is that Monday? Monday night. Ted, the book it sees the skid that you're on as a team.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like you. They don't like you at all.
As a person.
Yeah, they don't like you as a human being. It's Kev minus 8.5.
Wow. That's rough. Looking at my skid like my mom did looking at my underwear in middle school.
By middle school, I mean 24 hours ago.
I did not see 8.5 coming. Wow, that's heavy. Okay, Kevin and Teddy, I'm calling this one the sponsorless, no sponsor here, revenge game.
Ooh.
You might think it's because Ted has Baker and Amon-Ra, but it's actually because you set me up at last year's postseason party, you son of a bitch. And I want my revenge. I haven't forgotten. 2 of my running backs on bye. That hurts a lot. 8.5? Man. I don't know. 2 of my running backs on bye. First game without Jaden. You guys covered this. Player to watch, Ramondre Stevenson. Not the best news out of Patriots camp today. He has a very plus matchup. I absolutely need him so I can field 2 running backs, and he did not practice today. So that is a massive bummer. To the point,
know that. Think lines might change.
To the point of if he does play, and Travion played okay last week.
7.5. It's 7.5.
Oh,
he might even be on a pitch count. So playing to some positive matchups this week, we'll hope it's enough. Ted, I said you're sticking with what you know. Pretty much the same starters as last week. I know what you're doing, Ted. I know that you see that green, you see that bottom fantasy D, and you want that Goff ASB stack, and you're thinking it's going to be nuclear, and I don't blame you. Like I said, X Factor's Ramondre or whoever goes in that RB2 spot, if they can fill in nicely and still take advantage of Teddy's weakness at running back. He is weak at running back, but if I can't take advantage of it, then who really cares? Mm-hmm. My pick during my analysis was me. I can't not pick me. 8.5 is a lot for missing Chase Brown and Javonte and first game without Jaden. Teddy, that book, you must have really done something to their mother. But I will pick myself with not as much confidence as I would have liked.
If you had to pick a line, what would you have had that line at?
My gut says 4.5.
That's not very confident.
I've had a lot of close games this year, and I mean JSN's a monster, but like I said, my big question mark is wide receiver too. So that's already, a question mark.
And running back Rashid Shaheed getting in.
Yeah, fuck Rashid Shaheed. But now I have like an added question mark with the running back buys and starting Bo Nix. So I don't know. The book knows something that I don't.
Wow. Well, moving on to our last matchup of this quick pod. This is the matchup of the week, ZFFL matchup of the week. This is the Nation of Israel sponsoring this, the Nation of Israel Jew Belong matchup, because we're seeing which of these two teams really belong. Jack at 5-4, but he's 7th in points scored. Kyle at 3-6, but he's like 5th in the breakdown. Both of these teams trying to figure out where they're going to stack up at the end of the season. Jack seems like he found his wide receiver one in Pittman, but Roma Dunze, no, not enough stead. Brees Hall publicly wants to be off Jack's team. I believe those were his comments. They weren't about the Jets. They were about Jack's team, were his comments.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Uh-huh. And then Kyle needs that Bowers huge performance. With Jacoby Myers gone, I think he's going to have big performances because who else is going to catch any balls? And then, Genty. But what's the sportsbook think about this one?
If Bink has any chance to make the playoffs, he needs Jack to win here. I personally think if the Bink doesn't trade with me, he should trade with Jack because he needs Jack to win this week. So never mind, that wouldn't work. I guess he has to trade with me. Anyways, the Bink obviously wished I won last week. That would have made it even better with you and Kyle, but I digress. Whatever. Jack will be without Tony Pollard, CD, Jake Ferguson. Kyle's without Pickens and Tajay Spears. Got Kyle's duo, Genty and Bowers Thursday night, and Pittman for Jack Sunday morning in Liechtenstein. Which, funny story about Liechtenstein. I don't know if you guys – in March of 2007, about 170 Swiss soldiers accidentally crossed the unmarked border into Liechtenstein. During the night, they were training – doing a training exercise in really bad weather. They wandered for about a mile into Liechtenstein before realizing they weren't in Switzerland anymore. Liechtenstein, without an army, they don't have an army as a country, didn't even realize that the Swiss army was in their territory. And the next day, the Swiss apologized to Liechtenstein for crossing over the border. And they said they didn't even notice, and that's okay. Later, the Swiss army came back to Liechtenstein with gifts and food and now have an alliance. But anyways, really good Monday night matchup here. Hurts and Saquon Barkley. The book doesn't really know what to do here. It's a pick 'em.
Oh.
It's a pick 'em. Bad matchups for both these guys too. So the book says to take the under.
I feel like there's a lot of matchups getting off to a very serious start on Thursday night. Like me and Teddy have some big guys. Kyle has both of his Raiders.
The IU game has started.
Alabama A&M. All right, we got to wrap this up.
Kind of doxing when we're filming, but
Jack and Kyle in the Zionsville Chamber of Commerce loser leaves town matchup.
wow.
Jack's record and his 3-game winning streak is fraudulent. He loses this and he is headed for the bottom. While Kyle has some momentum, just cannot afford to fall to 3-7 with 4 to play. Little look ahead here. We talked about strength of schedule, and therefore I'm kind of confused on why it wasn't Kyle. Kyle goes Jack, Monty, Teddy the next 3 weeks off of that win, playing the bottom of the league where he needs wins and he needs tiebreakers. Huge November for Kyle. Hopefully it's a grand, big-bellied Thanksgiving for him. For this week, though, on Kyle's team, I say decisions, decisions, decisions. Strolling out those 2 Raiders, like you mentioned, going up against the Broncos defense. That is a brutal defense from experience. Has Garrett Wilson in there in spite of the Jets clearly throwing in the towel on the season. Does he play Waddle instead, who's wide receiver 10? Does he play Maserati, who looked really has looked really good with Jacoby Brissett? He texts me every week about how he knows he will start the wrong quarterback. Kind of if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Does he trade one of those quarterbacks before the week even starts? But for Jack, I mentioned fraudulent winning streak. You took the stat that he has the second least points scored on the year and yet is 5-4. I'll go one step further. He only has 5.1 more points scored than Monty on the entire season. So just the total bottom, somehow still 5-4. Missing some guys, Brees with a tough matchup. One thing to call out here as far as an X factor, there are 6 total running backs being started right now. So both flex spots with a running back in them. And that is absolutely the X factor. Can Genty do it against the Broncos? Judkins is questionable right now. Brees Hall, tough matchup, like I said, et cetera, et cetera. What will we get from these backs? All of that being said, I will go with Kyle in the pick'em. As you could probably imagine, I think he has some momentum. I think he has some confidence. And I think that Jack's good fortunes catch up with him here in week 10. And Monty overtakes him for the 7th most points scored in the league.
Wow.
Loser leaves town. And therefore, Jack will leave town per the Zionsville Chamber of Commerce loser leaves town matchup.
But loser leaves town, but they live in different towns.
Loser leaves town. He has to go live in Uzbekistan.
Ooh.
Funny story about Uzbekistan.
Funny story about Liechtenstein.
Well, unless you guys don't have any more fun facts about any European nations, I think that might be it.
Now I want to analyze some more matchups. Teddy, what's your hot take now that we're a little over the midpoint of the year?
Midpoint of the podcast.
My hot take is I think now I don't know if this is going to sound hot take. This is speculation, but I think one of Trevor or Chase is going to go on a 4+ game losing streak.
Whoa!
Them hitting a wall. Which one? I would probably guess Trevor, but I could see it being Chase too.
That's the part with being thin is someone like like the question marks at RB2, wide receiver 2. If God forbid McCaffrey goes down, you won't be carrying
McCaffrey
him
goes
tonight.
down. I will be all over that backup, and Trevor will be fucked.
Jeff Wilson Jr.
Well, as always, thanks for listening to the Zionsville Football League Fantasy Football Podcast. Before the Thursday night game. Sure to follow us on all social media. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And as always,
fuck you, Trevor.